I just started the IB program in Prus High School on Saska Kępa. During the week, I try to train fencing as much as possible, because currently I'm in the Polish national team, preparing for the international competitions. And during the weekends, besides studying, I try to have some fun and meet my friends. I have to tell you that the last 2 years of my high school experience has been very intense for me. I've took part in various conferences, like for example Model United Nations, and won various programs. This enabled me to meet many amazing people that right now are my close friends. So during the weekend, there is almost always someone that I can talk to. And when I go to the conference in Poland, I know that there will be always someone that I know. It is a great life, isn't it? The matter is, in fact, that it isn't true. But I thought this is how my life would look until 6th of April 2023. Because, frankly speaking, on this day I received an email that drastically changed my life. I remember that I was sitting in my living room when suddenly a notification came. The notification said that I was nominated to study in a boarding school in the United Kingdom for the last 2 years of my education. And I remember that two feelings came to my heart. The first feeling was just pure joy, because I was chosen out of thousands of candidates out of Poland. But the second feeling was fear. And the question that popped up immediately in my head: what if I will stay at home? Those questions are with me till today, even in this moment when I'm talking to you right now. So I would like to share with you some of the considerations that I had, because I believe that the hardest part of deciding what is the right thing to do in a change is our discussions with yourself. All I knew is that my new school is named Clifton College, and it is beautiful. It looks a bit like Hogwarts, and that it has over 150 years of history. But that was all I knew. On the other hand was my lovely Prus High School on Saska Kępa, next to my home. And at this point, honestly speaking, I knew everything about it. I knew the teachers, I knew atmosphere, I knew now my amazing classmates. And just 10 minutes from my school, there was my fencing club, to which I could just go after school. So I managed to create this secure space that I was benefiting from. And I asked myself, will I be able to recreate it in Clifton College? The second question was my education, because I was on my way to do the IB program, and I've been preparing for it for my whole life. And suddenly I was supposed to do the A-levels program, about which I didn't know almost anything. And also friends, will I be able to keep contact with them, as well as my new friends. Will I be able to find new friends in a different culture, with different values and diversity? And finally, what about relationships? How going to the UK will influence the difficulty of being in a relationship? Those were all of my considerations that I had when I had to do the right decision. So the question arises, how did I make it? And right now I would like to leave you with this question for a bit, and would like to look a bit on science, on change. In 1969, the American Swiss doctor came up with the change curve. It describes how every human being goes through change. And it consists of 3 main stages. The first stage is a new beginning, is a shock. I remember when for the first time I saw Clifton College. For me, it was just something unreal. The second stage is the most challenging one, the stage of transition and depression. And the final, third stage, is a stage of new beginning. This is when we start to take the full advantage of the new opportunities that arise in change. And why the change curve is so important? It is so important because anything worth in our life is on the other side of fear. When we decide to embrace change in our life, we decide to get outside our comfort zone. This throws us into doing new, exciting things, sometimes scary, from which we can grow, learn, and in the long run, achieve our dreams. If we find ourselves in the middle of change, which is more possible than ever before in our rapidly changing world, we must all develop one trait, which is resilience. Resilience to change. This is why I would like to present to you 4 principles of resilience, according to book Mind, Body, Health. The first principle of resilience is an internal sense of control. This means that the actions that you are taking reflect your inner values. The second principle is a sense of connectedness. This means that we feel as a part of something larger. For me, for example, this means sharing my experience with my fellow scholar in Clifton College. Another principle is a sense of purpose. This means that we can answer a simple question. Why am I doing this? And finally, it is hope. A hope that change in the long run will bring us good. Having all of those things in mind, let's come back to our considerations from the beginning. When I was going to Clifton College, I knew that there would be some challenges on my way. Some of them were more obvious, like, for example, lack of privacy, moments of loneliness. I knew that I would have to keep my friendships cross-borderly, or I even knew that I would have to manage Model United Nations Prusmul conference that I'm organizing here in Poland. There were also some unobvious problems, like, for example, drunk roommates that might disrupt your sleep at 2 a.m. before a test, or even the fact that boarding school can feel sometimes like a prison, because you have to be back at certain times in a certain place. But the most important part of every change are the opportunities. Opportunities that rise from embracing this change and remembering to keep a positive balance between opportunities and challenges on our way. Right now, let's have a look once again at the change curve. This is me right now, and I think I just have entered the 3rd stage, a new beginning, as I'm trying to experiment in Clifton College. But then there is the question, what is the fastest way to transition from the 1st to the 3rd stage, to try to take advantage of a change as fast as possible? Firstly, when I went to the United Kingdom, I kept 2 or 3 scenarios in my head. I knew that at any moment, if I wouldn't like life here, I could always come back to Poland. Because it is so important that if the balance gets negative, we can't be afraid of changing a change until we find our way. Secondly, we can't be afraid to ask for help, because we really got nothing to lose. The worst you're gonna hear is no. And if you don't get the answers to your questions, we must learn how to live with the questions until we get the answers. Even right now, I'm talking to you standing, I have all of those what if in my mind, and they will be with me for the very long time. Thirdly, remember to celebrate every success, even the small ones, because they are the indication of your progress in the new situation. And finally, remember to give time, because change doesn't happen overnight, and it is a process. Right now, I would like to share with you some of my small successes in Clifton College that I had so far that are indication of my own personal progress in this new environment. My first big success was, for sure, the speech in the chapel when I had to speak in front of the whole school. And afterwards, people congratulated me. What is amazing that even the humanities teacher wrote me an email where she said that the speech was amazing. I was very surprised. The second award is that I managed to win the poetry competition with, honestly speaking, the whole world, because we had to prepare a poem in native language. And I have chosen a Polish poem about independence and freedom in the context of the changes that we are going through right now. What is amazing that as a prize, I got a cup with my name on it. Here you can see it on the slide. So In some way, my name will be always part of the history of Clifton College. I also joined clubs like MUN and Economics, in which I strive because of the work I've done in Poland. I also joined a band, take part in the fencing competition, and also do the Duke of Edinburgh Award that will allow me to climb Mont Blanc in June. During all of those successes, I've also met new people, new friends and mentors, with whom those connections will go deeper with time. As I'm standing here in front of you all today, I would like to tell you that changes are not going to be easy, but they are going to be so worth it. On the picture, you can see me and my sister on the first day in Clifton College. We are looking a bit in the distance, wondering how my life would be here. I really like this picture. So, what are the key takeaways for you from this speech? Firstly, remember to be open for change, because it will enable you to grow. And don't be afraid to ask yourself, what if? Because it will help you to analyze your situation. Secondly, you must all remember to build resilience in the times of rapidly changing world. Thirdly, we must strive for a positive balance so that opportunities in change outweigh the negatives. Finally, remember, you are the person responsible for your change and nobody else. Thank you. I'm looking forward to meeting you where change matters.